Haven't actually seen the back of my hair. How does it look? You know what? I don't care. The back of my hair is none of my business. Hi everyone, it's Tash and welcome to another recipe video. And today we're going to be making a Dowager Empress's favourite, Wāndòu Huáng, or rather yellow pea cake. Timestamps are down below if you want to skip the initial blah blah, but stick around if you want to hear a little bit about what we're making first. And yes, this is reportedly one of the favourite desserts of Empress Dowager Cixi of the Qing Dynasty. The story goes she was on a summer holiday in Beihai Park, which back then was just an imperial park but nowadays is open to the public, and she heard someone calling and making noise outside, and it turned out to be a streetwalker who was selling these cakes. So once she found out it was a street vendor selling cakes, she decided to invite him in so she could try some. To be honest, relatable. And she liked his homemade yellow pea cakes so much that she invited him to come work in the palace kitchens for her. In practice, this is a super simple cake. It's literally just made out of split yellow peas, water and sugar. The trick in particular to making this recipe though is cooking it enough so that it's thick enough to set, but not so dry that it becomes dry and crumbly. The texture is kind of like a soft set sweet red bean paste, and the end result is a smooth, cooling, creamy, mildly sweet pudding that's fit for an empress, or specifically an Empress Dowager in Cixi's case. So with all that said, because I'm not really an Empress Dowager in real life, let's go to the kitchen and see how it's done. Now of course, to make yellow pea cake we need yellow peas. Dried ones in fact. Well, this one apparently is green, but one won't make a difference. I got some dried yellow split peas. What we're going to do is give them a rinse, and we're going to cover them in water and let them soak overnight, because I have a feeling these are very old peas. Whenever I buy them from the supermarket, you always have to pray that they're relatively freshly dried, you know, maybe a couple of months old. But if you happen to get a pack that's already years old, you're going to have a harder time soaking them, cooking them. So we're going to give them a head start by soaking them. Here we are with our soaking beans. We're just essentially going to let these soak overnight, and they are going to increase in size a bit as they absorb water. Okay, so I'm going to let these soak overnight. So good night, little peas. It's the next day and our peas are nice and soaked, and as you can see, I can actually break these in half, so they have softened quite a lot, which is good. Hopefully these will take less time to cook. Right now I'm just going to drain these, sieve them, and give them another rinse, so we're not going to use this water. I've got my drained peas. I've actually put it in my rice cooker pot because I'm going to cook mine in the rice cooker. You can cook yours in the hob or in a pressure cooker. Apparently pressure cookers are even better, but I just have my rice cooker. And I'm going to add 600 millilitres of new water. So this is new water, just from the tap really, not the water that we just drained, just to give the peas a fresher taste. And now I'm going to cook these for 2 hours just to be sure. You can probably just cook yours for 1.5, but I tend to find here in the UK, whenever you get dried split peas, they tend to be quite old from the supermarket. You have no idea how long that they are actually, whoops, I've got a little pea here, put that back in, how long they've actually been sitting on the shelf in the warehouse before it actually goes into the supermarket and you buy them. And the older your dried peas, this also goes for dried beans too, the harder they are to cook. So I'm going to cook these for 2 hours for good measure until they go nice and mushy. And again, you can just boil these too, but if you're boiling them you might have to top the water off a bit because it does boil off. There you go, you can see I've quite handily put my rice cooker on soup mode and I'm just cooking it for 2 hours. 2 hours later, you can see they're starting to go mushy, which is perfect. Now all we have to do is blend this, and I've actually let this cool down a little bit because my blender can't handle hot stuff. And my blender's there, so let me bring it over and put this in it. And now we're going to blend this until it's smooth. If the blend is struggling with a thick mix, just add a little extra cold water. I ended up adding a total of about 400 millilitres extra, but do bear in mind that the more water you add, then the longer it's going to take to cook this mixture down later when we're cooking it in the pan. And there we go, it's a nice smooth smoothie, kind of. I wouldn't want to drink it at this stage. Now we have to cook it again. We're going to pour this into our saucepan, and yes, it is super thick. I'm going to add 60 grams of caster sugar, and we're going to cook this until it forms kind of like a thin mashed potato consistency. It's far too thin at the moment, it's not going to set, and if you don't cook it thick enough then it will set, but not very solidly. And if you cook it too much it's going to be dry and crumbly, so make sure you just get to that soft set mashed potato stage. Now as soon as it gets to kind of like a really loose mashed potato kind of consistency, we're going to turn the heat off rather, and now we're going to pour this into our mould. Now here I have an 8 by 8 inch square cake tin, and I'm just going to scoop all of this right in. Give it a few smacks on the counter to flatten out even more. And now to stop the surface from drying and cracking, we're going to lay some cling film lightly over the top. So make sure that it's touching the surface. Now all we have to do is let this cool down completely and then chill in the fridge for at least 4 hours. We are back with a set pea cake. I'm going to take this off. I'm actually going to use this to line my chopping board. And we are back. I've taken off the cling film, put it on my board just for a little extra bit of insurance for cutting. You don't have to. And I'm just going to flip this straight on the board. In fact, let me do it the other way around. I'm going to put this down. I'm going to put the board on top. And we're less likely to have a disaster, and I'm just going to flip it. There we go. Perfect. Ooh, it's shiny. Now all we have to do is cut it. I'm actually going to use my cleaver because it's long enough to cut a nice straight line, and I'm very bad at cutting straight lines. To be honest, even with this, I'll probably fail. Let's see how I go. There we go, that wasn't too bad. And now I'm just going to plate these up and serve them. Just going to take out one from the side here. Have a look. Oh, that is so lovely and soft. Well, except for my chipped teaware, this looks like it's fit for royalty. Let's dig into one. Do you like my hair stick? I bought it in Chongqing last year. I tried to do a Chinese princess hair loop and kind of succeeded, but I have very thin hair, so this is all I have. That's why they used extensions even back in the ancient times. They're so shiny. And I love that they're very simple blocks as well, like little building blocks. Something very satisfying about that. They smell very nutty and a little bit sweet. I'm going to dig into the one that I dug into just now for the slowmo because I'll keep these nice and pretty. I'll probably give these ones to Mr. Tash Cakes. This is usually cooked a bit longer after it's blended, made it a bit dry, so when it sets it is drier as well and a bit more solid. But making this at home I do prefer a little more custardy, which is why I kept a little of that water in. Cheers! Super smooth, subtly sweet. This would be perfect with a cup of tea. I think Cixi Taiho would approve. So there you go, Chinese split yellow pea cake. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed today's recipe video and I hope you'll join me next Wednesday for my next one. Get the full written recipe on my blog tashcakes.com, follow me on Instagram on tashcakes.tastes and find me on TikTok too, I'm tashcakes there too, but my handle is food in slow motion. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you'd like to see more, give this video a like if you'd like it to help other people find it, comment down below if you'd like me to make anything in particular, and I'll see you all next time. Be good, be nice and have a good week. 太后驾到！